Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Gene.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Thursday, April 10th, 2025. So, on a day that is getting scarily close to April 15th, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And did you find it to be a taxing crossword?
I did.
Oh.
Crossword did me.
Really?
It did me in.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I found it quite difficult.
Me too. I'm glad it's not just me.
I eventually did figure out the theme, and that helped somewhat.
Yes.
But yeah, there was just a lot in here I didn't know. I hate to admit it, but there were a lot of things in here like I have no idea.
Oh, I proudly admit that I know just about nothing. I think possibly my greatest moment, though, was 3 down. 3 down, the clue was corona o dos equus. And I thought that was some sort of an arithmetic equation. I was thinking it was like 11 times... dos I was thinking was 2. So I was thinking 11 times 2 equals, and I was trying to figure out what that was in a language that I didn't even recognize. I was thinking it was Spanish.
It is Spanish.
It turns out that's the name of a beer.
Yeah.
I got it through the crosses, through a lot of flailing around in the crosses, but cerveza, which is the answer, is some beer. You knew that?
I knew that Corona was a beer, yeah.
So it's not a number.
I think there are actually 2. Corona's a beer and Dos Equus is a beer.
Equus?
Equus.
Okay, so it wasn't some number times 2 equals.
No, It was Corona or Dos Equus.
O is how you say or in some language? Spanish? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly an eye-opener. And actually, even further up in that corner, one across, bub. And I went for pal.
I went for pal for a while.
Really? And then did you go for man?
I went for bro.
Oh.
First I went for bro. Then I went for pal. Then I went for man, yes.
Oh, you did? Really? So you too visited all the possibilities before settling on the correct answer of Mac.
Mac, yes.
It's funny, I had just about given up on this crossword, and I was sort of putting it away, and I thought, I'll just take one more look at it. And I looked at that, and I'm like, bub, Mac, hey, Mac. And I'm like, oh, it's Mac. Let's see what I can do with Mac. And then one down, which I also didn't know.
No, I didn't know that one.
That was blank Hennessy Louis Vuitton. French luxury goods holding company was Moet.
Yes.
I think...
I've heard of Louis Vuitton, but I've never heard of it in relationship to Moet Hennessy.
Well, it's
I've just never heard that, I've heard of Louis Vuitton. That's a fashion house, and, they produce fashions and purses and all kinds of stuff, but
well, this says it's a holding company, so I presume they may have gobbled up a whole bunch of different companies.
They must have.
I thought Moet was an applesauce.
No, that's Moen.
Oh, I was so close. Okay. And let's see, and 2 down, what a car service might await, arrival.
Right.
I thought that you would be waiting for the car service rather than the car service. I didn't quite follow what car service they were talking about. Is that supposed to be an Uber type reference?
Well, yeah, like a car service to pick up someone at the airport.
Oh, okay. Like those people who stand there with the signs.
Yeah, exactly.
And they look so sad. It's like, Philip.
They don't look that sad.
Well, maybe not. I mean, they are at an airport. There are worse places to be, but not many.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble in that corner. There was just too much I didn't know.
Oh, like 14 across. Hundredths of a Swedish krona.
Yeah.
Or, O-R-E.
Yeah. I didn't know that, well, yes, krona, that's their dollar. That's equivalent to like their dollar paper money. I guess the coin is an or.
I actually think that was my last word, the E of
I ended
aura.
up in that corner myself, yeah. I got everything else, but and not easily, but
right.
I eventually got everything else. But boy, that corner just did me in.
I think this was supposed to be a Saturday crossword, but Will couldn't bring himself to run it because there was a theme. He was like, theme, can't be a Saturday.
So he put it on Thursday.
Yeah, Because if this is a Thursday and if the difficulty level is going to continue to increase, we're doomed.
We're in for a tough weekend, I'm afraid.
17 across was to blank is human, but it feels divine, Mae West.
Right.
I thought it was going to be, I mean, I know the phrase to err is human, and that is in fact the answer, ERR, but I thought it was going to be to sin is human.
Oh, no.
But
She started off with the phrase, but then put her own twist on it.
right. Good old Mae West. I mean, very old Mae West at this point.
So, anyway, the theme was very clever once you figured out what was going on. The theme clues were all one word, and they were just common words. And it was kind of hard to think of, what might be a synonym that you could put in the puzzle for them. But it turns out you needed to do more than just figure out what the word was defined as, because each one of the words, if you broke it apart by syllables, one of the syllables was a form of a diminutive that you would add, as a suffix or a prefix to a word to denote a little something. And so, like, I'm not going to do the first one because it was kind of tricky, but 24 across was martini. And of course, the teeny at the end denotes, something. So like a little mart. And that turned out to be vending machine. So that was the answer. Little mart or martini was vending machine.
Right.
And then like 35 across was bandito. And so, of course, the ito is the diminutive. It turned out to be pinky ring, a small band.
Right.
Pinky ring.
I will just take your word for it that ito is diminutive. I just didn't know what to make of it.
Oh,
it sounds sort of a little on the small side. But...
yeah. And here, 49 across was sublet. Sublet, like, piglet. Or,
right, sure. That one I got.
Yeah. Turned out to be finger sandwich, a sublet.
Yes,
like
that was
sandwich.
That was very amusing.
57 across was a roquette.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be grain of sand, like a little rock would be a grain of sand. And then going back to the first one, 18 across was shoveling. And all the others I could figure out, but shoveling, that just did me in. I got it from the crosses. It turned out to be gentle nudge.
Right.
Because ling, you can kind of associate that with like a youngster or a baby animal, like a yearling, or so a little.
So it was a shoveling.
A little shove. So it's
would be a gentle nudge.
So anyway, it was very clever. But it took me a while to figure out what was going on there. But then once I did, I'm like, oh, now it's making sense. So
for me, it made a little more sense, but it was still a challenge. They did have some foreshadowing in 8 down. Diminutively was lil.
Lil, yeah.
So they sort of warned you in a way, in a very, very subtle way.
Right.
It wasn't more of a warning as so much as a psst, hey bub, or hey Mac.
Yep.
As the case may be. 4 across, rapper with back-to-back triple platinum albums in 2001. 2000 and 2001 was Ja Rule.
Right. I didn't know that.
I thought Da Rule sounded better.
Da Rule.
Da Rule. Da Rule is buy my album. But 4 down was Jacksonville NFL player familiarly, and it was, so I had Dag, and it was like the Jacksonville Dagwoods, but it turned out to be
Jaguars.
Somehow I looked at that and thought Ja sounds better, and Jag was the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I never hear in the news. I hear these are football teams,
right.
And I hear about numerous ones, but not the Jaguars.
Maybe they're not very good.
I don't know. At least their PR department isn't.
Well, and I don't know what division they're in, but
long division.
I of course, I'm a big Chiefs fan,
right?
And they don't play a lot of NFC. They're in the AFC. They play a few NFC teams, but they mostly play teams in their own division. So I don't know what the Jags are in.
I don't know.
But yeah, they don't. I think they played them, but no, you don't hear about them too often.
As long as they're not in the CFC division, that would be poisonous to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had a 10 across. This was great. Mej, so short for measure, that becomes a third of its size if its second letter is removed. TBSP for tablespoon becomes, of course, a teaspoon.
Yep.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. That was a very clever.
Little mathematical mystery there.
For me, I do that.
Okay. Well, I did not. 16 across, what a spooked horse might do. I went for bolt.
I went for buck.
Oh. Neither of us getting the correct answer immediately, which was rear. That's another thing that a spooked horse might do. Next to that, 15 across, it might drip onto an urban sidewalk informally. AC unit.
Yes.
I started off with icelet. I wasn't sure what an icelet was, but that C worked, and so did the T at the end.
Yeah, I didn't know what that could be. And even when I got it from the crosses, I didn't get it from anything else.
But now, of course, it's obvious.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense.
Let's see. We had 11 down. This was terrific. It might be pushed back by just one more story. Bedtime.
Bedtime, right.
That was great.
I could relate to that.
And I wonder who counted for 31 across. Country known as the land of a million elephants, Laos. You think someone went? 1, 2, 3. Oh, darn, I lost track. I'm going to have to start over again.
I put Siam in there because we just had the clue, the country that had an elephant on the flag. So I thought, it must be Siam.
Right.
I mean, I know Siam is no longer a country, but I thought, well, could be, but no, it was Laos.
Well, based on the flag, it only had one elephant. That would have to be the land of one elephant.
One would represent a million.
32 across. I went looking in the wrong direction. Earpiece. So I was going to be like lobe.
Oh.
And then I thought something inside the ear that I can't think the name of.
Hammer, anvil, and stirrup.
Ooh. But it was stud.
Yep.
I should have spotted that. And then 33 down, Norse god of war, Tyr.
Right.
Tyr. And for the record, Tyr has shown up, I think, a total of 94 times, and it first appeared in 1944.
Wow.
And it's been pretty much clued exactly the same way since then. There's only one way to... Although let's see, is there anything else that Tyr could be? I just wonder...
Well, if it had an E on the end, that's the way the British spell.
That is true. That would have been quite good.
But
we will inquire of our personal best friend Jim Horn and xwordinfo.com, and let's see. So it's actually shown up 90 times, and it's been pretty much Norse god of war. Occasionally, it's Scandinavian god of war, and then son of Odin. They need somebody to name their kid Tyr so that it can be something else than Norse god of war. There's the one-handed Norse god.
Oh, there's an interesting clue there. Blank is to Tuesday as Odin is to Wednesday.
Oh,
so
Tuesday's
named after Tyr.
Tyr.
Or however you pronounce
it's Tyr. I'm going for Tyr.
Tyr.
Wow. So instead of Triplet Tuesday, we could call it Triplet Tyr Day.
Well, I knew Odin was, sort of the inspiration for Wednesday, and Thor is Thursday.
Right.
But I didn't know, like Tuesday and Monday.
I'm trying to figure out if Firestone worships them. It's like, well, most people have stopped worshiping Norse gods, but we are a tire company, so we continue to worship them.
I don't think so.
45 down. I'm embarrassed to say what my first answer for this was. Titular solver of many a medical mystery in 2000s TV. What'd you go for?
I had no idea.
Oh, really? I briefly toyed with Dr. Welby. And then I thought, that's not 2000s. No. That's the 1950s.
I think more 1970s.
Is it?
60s or 70s, yeah.
Well, anyways, but then I thought, no, it's not going to be Welby. And then I thought House. Dr. House. Yeah. So
I was surprised. I didn't think it was that long ago, but
it's been a while. Let's see, who did that have in it? It was the British Hugh. Was it Hugh Laurie?
Laurie.
Hugh Laurie, yes.
Yeah, he played Dr. House.
One of the all-time greats.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
51 down. Fabled storyteller was Aesop. Ha ha ha.
Or Aesop, as I learned to
Oh, okay. All right.
it.
Well, I learned how to pronounce tire as tire. And then we had 60 down. New do Hugh die. That was brilliant. That really was.
Yeah, there were a lot of great clues.
Yes, this was a good crossword. The competition for the Jam Katwa Gene and Mike Crossword of the Week Award is definitely heating up.
Oh, yeah. Well, Adam Wagner, I think I associate that name with tough puzzles. It seems like he always gives you a pretty tough puzzle.
Right. Well, he's done 9 out of his 23 puzzles, 9 of them were on Thursdays. He's never done a Friday and Saturday. I still think this was a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah, with a theme.
With a theme, yeah. No theme. But, all right. Well, I think that is it for today then. Right. So thanks, everyone, for listening. A reminder that our Triplet Tuesday Contest is coming right up. You'll undoubtedly be in the throes of practicing right now. At least we hope you are. And remember, you can always send us feedback, crosswordpodcast at iCloud.com, or click on the send fan mail link. And we will be back again with our cutting edge analysis of Friday's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.